Hello and welcome to the New Careers Podcast, episode 9. I'm on the only host again at the moment, so enjoy my company. And I am joined by Porcan again and Perrin.
Hello.
We are back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, can't seem to get rid of you, Perrin.
Man. They always keep crawling back to me.
Yeah. And this is your second time on the podcast, Porcan. How does it feel?
Same as the first time, honestly.
Nice.
Fair enough.
Fair enough. I like the honesty.
Mm-hmm.
So, obviously, since Micah isn't here, I can't tell you guys the stats of the last episode or anything like that. But so just imagine, since Perrin and his brother was on, it was probably like 1 billion plays or something.
New world record we just hit. Most listeners on a podcast ever. Yeah.
I can guarantee once again that my mom was among the listeners of the
Hello,
last
Perrin's mom.
episode. Yes.
She's probably not listening to this episode, but I thought I'd say hi anyway.
I don't know if she knows I'm on this one. I don't know if she listens to the other episodes of the podcast. We'll see. But if she does, pleasant surprise for my mom.
Hi, Perrin's mom again.
Yeah, hi.
Oh, maybe. So like I say, I can't tell you the stats, so I'm just going to move straight on into what we're working on. Perrin, why don't you start?
Alrighty, so as I mentioned a little bit in the previous episode, I'm hosting a branding contest on Scratch, and it's the 5th version of it that's been posted. So I'm hosting Brand Battle 5, and it's a multi-stage competitive design competition where you're paired up with another user, and you have to both make a branding. Whoever's branding is better moves on to the next round until there's one victor remaining. So I'm hosting that. Sign-ups will officially be released on next Friday. So Friday the 10th, officially. A week later than I initially wanted, but I thought it'd be better. So yeah, the hype is real. People are getting excited.
It is. It is.
I got more, on Scratch, I got more loves on these info project for Brand Battle 5 than I have on any of my actual projects on my main account. Which kind of hurts just a little bit, but
that does sting. I remember when I was doing Design Geo 10, when I released the sign-ups project for that, it got over 1,000 views, and that's more than most of my projects.
I know Brand Battle 3 got on the front page for a little bit. I think we had to explain to a bunch of people. It was the first round even, so it was after the sign up. So there were a bunch of very confused kids trying to figure out what was going on with the contest.
What is a brand battle?
It's the kind of thing where we really need to experience it to know what it is.
Yeah. It is. It's an experience. And what's funnily enough, all the people on this podcast right now are either judging or hosting.
Yes.
So that is true.
That is true.
First time judging. Let's go.
Yeah. And then there's me who's this is my 5th time judging now.
Yeah.
Can't get rid of me.
I've either participated or judged in all 3. I mean, all 5. Because I participated for 1 round in Brand Battle 1. I got eliminated in the semifinals in Brand Battle 2. I was a judge Brand Battle 3. I won the last one, and now I'm hosting.
What a flex.
Yeah.
I have not participated in any of them.
I mean, hey, but you've judged all of them. That's
judged every single one, yeah.
Yeah.
You're basically the host.
See, I bypassed the part where I have to prove my skills. I just went and say, I know what
you just like the part where you get to judge people.
Yeah, I like doing that, so pretty fun. What else have you been working on?
Not much in terms of design or anything. Last night I tried VR for the first time. I have a friend who's got I think it's an Oculus. I'm not sure exactly which one it is, but I played Beat Saber. Beat Saber is a lot of fun.
I love Beat Saber.
It's really cool. It's a lot. It's like this. I've never done VR before, so it was really weird to experience it for the first time. It's very visceral when you have things flying at you and you need to avoid it, and you can feel in your hands the vibrations when you mess up, or when you feel something, it's
Oh.
really, really immersive. Even if it's just something as simple as Beat Saber, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I want to try it again.
I find it really disorientating because I tried it back in the day. I don't know if you guys remember, but Samsung used to sell like the, I don't know what you even call them, like the headsets, and you put your Galaxy phone in it, and that would be
Oh, the
like
cardboard
the actual
things,
screen.
right?
It's kind of like cardboard, but
Yeah.
if Samsung made it, basically.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
So I tried that, and honestly, I was so disorientated by it. I just like, it's so trippy. It just, for some reason, it just made me like feel like it's like
Huh.
almost motion sickness. Like
Yeah, I was a bit
But I
worried
don't-
I'd get motion sick. Not even
yeah,
joking.
and
but I didn't.
I'm not someone who usually gets motion sickness, so I'm not even. Maybe
Huh.
it's just because it's a screen and I know maybe what it is. Like I know it's not real, kind of thing. Like it's something like my brain are not like are not thinking the same as what my eyes are seeing. I don't know, but yeah,
Yeah, I
Pretty
get
strange.
headaches when I
Yeah.
stay in VR too long at my friend's house and things. I can only stay
I
for
can
like
see
5
that,
minutes
yeah.
at a time. Yeah.
I can barely survive 5 minutes. It's more than what I can do. So, Porkin. Anyway, what have you been working on?
Well, recently I got a new mechanical keyboard, which is very nice. Well, I say new; it's actually my first keyboard ever. But yeah, it's nice. I spent a lot of time like modding it and stuff to make it sound nice, and I'm very happy with how it turned out. So yeah, it's a big upgrade from my
To be
laptop
clear, you
keyboard.
mean keyboard as in
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh
I
no,
wasn't
like
sure if you
computer
meant
keyboard.
keyboard
Yeah.
as in... Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I should have made that clear. Sorry.
Yeah. So how's right? I'm a complete noob to like keyboard building. How does that actually work? Like, did you like when you bought it? Was it already like pre-built, or is it something where you got the like parts separate and then had to build it all, kind of thing?
Mine was pre-built, and then I like took it apart and sort of put different switches and caps on it and things. But I know you can get like fully sort of custom ones where you get all the parts individually and then like build it yourself. I want to do that one day, but yeah.
I see. Right, because like I say, I'm a complete noob to it. I've never done that. My keyboard's literally just like a 20 quid like keyboard from Microsoft.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
My keyboard is attached to my laptop.
Oh yeah,
So-
laptop nerd. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I might as well tell you what I've been working on. So I've mentioned this a few times, but before I started using Affinity Designer, I think I started using it in maybe like 2018ish, 2019ish. I started using it, but before then, for like years before, I started using a program called Serif Draw Plus X8. It's basically the predecessor to Affinity. Made by the same company as well. So Serif is the company that makes Affinity, for people who don't know. So I have a ton of old files from that time period when I used Affinity. It's like Serif Draw Plus that I can't access anymore because it's proprietary to that program. So I tried to find a way to get it. So I may or may not have technically illegally downloaded it. So, you know, but so like I say, may or may not have legally downloaded it. That nothing.
Please
Can't
don't.
endorse
nothing
piracy
you need to know.
here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Can't-
don't endorse
yeah.
piracy.
Sue
If you're
Sean,
gonna
not
sue
us.
Please do not
anyone-
sue us, Serif. But as per usual, Serif, if you're gonna sue any of us, sue Sean specifically.
please, yeah.
This has become every episode now. Gotta
Obligatory
include this.
lawsuit direction of every episode.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they don't sell it anymore. They haven't sold it since like 2016, so I think I'm in the clear. Hopefully,
So,
unless Serif's lawyers are really bored and just feel like, you know
Yeah.
what, let's go and sue this guy. So anyway,
I don't think they'll be that
Uh,
desperate for money, unlike some other design companies I know.
dope. Yeah. But anyway, I go and get the program. I finally get it to work after a lot of troubleshooting, and now I can access all my old files. And I think I showed you some of it, Perrin, but it's like I have an old version of my current logo that I have.
Oh,
and
I
it
saw
is
that.
such a mess. Yeah, it's
It's
so
cursed.
bad.
Oh,
It is
sure.
cursed. It's like if an AI tried to generate it or something. It just does not look right. But yeah, I've been going, like I say, I might go back through my old files, because I've got a ton of them sitting on my Google Drive and like zip folders and that I'll need to try out and see if I can find anything interesting. Because I am still working on some projects that might include some old logos being reimagined, so hopefully we'll see what happens. But yeah. Let's move on now to the interesting stuff we've been kind of seeing on the internet lately, just stuff in the news and so on. Firstly, it's kind of the main thing. I think everyone's been talking about this, and that is Netflix banning password sharing, specifically with people that are from different households. So how it works is, so from what Netflix is saying, is Netflix is going to be using the IP address you sign up with, from what I understand. And if your IP address is different to that, or you go on holiday or something, you'll get blocked out. The only way to access Netflix without using your home IP address is by getting a 7-day special login. But after those 7 days, it stops working. So you can't go on holiday for more than 7 days now if you want to access Netflix.
This is really stupid. The fact that you're not able to leave your home at all and still use a product you're paying for is incredibly stupid. Even if it does deter password sharing to a certain extent, which it won't if anyone uses a VPN, even if you do that, it's still inconveniencing a large chunk of your audience. What if you move houses and do they have a process for changing your address that still fits with that security blanket? How do you allow for that change without letting people abuse it too, you know?
So it gets worse. So
oh no.
there's an article here from The Guardian which discusses about leaked help pages that Netflix accidentally put on the US Netflix help page. Currently Chile and other countries are being trialed with this already, and what the trial is that they're getting people to pay if you want someone from a different household to access your Netflix account. So now you'll be charged if someone outside of your household makes an account on your account, like a profile on your account. So they're trying to monetize password sharing now as well.
Man.
I don't know what. I think it's so Australia. It looks like it's $4 Australian per extra account you add that's from a different household.
Surely you might as well just do that and not get another account then, right? If you're sharing it with someone. I mean, that is cheaper than buying two accounts, I guess, but...
It depends, because if you're, for example, got a couple people, say you've got relatives from multiple households, that's say you've got 3 other people that access your account, that means that's 4 times 3 extra on top of whatever you're paying.
Wouldn't it make more sense to do a family plan, to have a certain amount, you have to, I'm sure with AI they can tell if someone's watching shows that don't really fit with the other shows they're watching, and be able to detect that kind of thing, but then make a limit on how many profiles it can have, and then charge for more profiles as a way to discourage it to some extent,
I think that it's what actually you said there. So a good example of that would be Spotify, because with Spotify you have the family plan, which is 6 accounts, I think, and then you've also got Duo, which is for two accounts or something like that. So why not just have an extra tier for 6 accounts?
Yeah.
But the issue is that if Netflix implemented this at the very start, this would have been fine. But the problem is now they're taking away something that has been a big part of their brand for since the beginning of their company, and now expecting people to pay for it. It's most people don't want to pay for something that was originally free.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I don't know what it's like in America, Perrin, but the pricing here in the UK is so weird. So if you want basic with adverts, it's $4.99 a month. So that means you're paying a $5 a month for adverts. You're still having to see adverts. Then the standard one, which is video at 1080p, is $10.99 a month. And then premium, which is $15.99 a month, is for 4K HDR.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure, but I don't recall us having the basic with ads here in the US. I'm not sure if it's there or not, but at the same time, I don't have my own Netflix. My dad pays for my Netflix.
Password sharing? Is that a password share?
Calm down,
More
calm down,
illegal
Netflix.
activity.
You might have to
Please
pay an
don't-
extra $4.
Please don't ban my dad from Netflix. Anyway,
If you're gonna
I
sue
don't know
anyone,
if they
sue
have
Perrin's
that here.
dad.
I don't know if they have that here, but I'm sure. I'm sure it's not that big of a deal, you know? Like, what am I trying to say here? I forgot what I was saying. I don't know. I don't know if we have that here. It's about the same price in the US compared to the UK, as far as I know. I know that, but I can't imagine. I know, like, Hulu charges a bunch, and you still have ads even though you're paying for it, which is a horrible model. The ads are supposed to,
Okay.
you know, be a substitute for payment. Like how it's
So-
been for over a decade with all forms of entertainment,
Yeah.
which I think is really stupid that they're bringing ads back just for a lower tier.
I feel like
It's
this is the
actually-
way corporations are going now. Like, you know, with Twitter and all that, when they're sort of paying to see half the ads or whatever. I feel like ads are going
Yeah.
to start coming into like paid
It's
subscription
just-
things more and more.
It's just more squeezing money out of as much
Yeah.
money out of your users as possible, and I get a strong feeling that at some point a lot of users are gonna go, "This is enough. I'm tired of dealing with this," and they're gonna stop using it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a strong feeling
'cause-
that Netflix is getting dangerously close to the edge there.
I swear its stock's
it's
been
something
like, really low or something recently as well, right?
Yeah,
There was a
it's been
crash a
low
while
for
ago.
quite a while
Yeah.
now. It crashed because Netflix announced in the first time in their history a few months back that they didn't gain subscribers, they lost subscribers. And
Yeah.
that's never happened. They've always gained subscribers, but this is the first time they actually lost them, which obviously just kind of makes you think to yourself, well, it looks like Netflix is on its way out, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But so I looked it up. So in the US, it's actually more confusing.
Oh no.
So there's basic with adverts, which is $4.99, from what I'm reading. Then it goes to basic without adverts. It's $6.99 a month. Then it goes up to standard, which is $10.99 a month, and then it goes to premium,
are
which is
there?
$15.99 a month.
Insane. Why
So
do
it's
you
even
need
more
that many?
confusing. Why not just have basic with no
Yeah.
ads at the $6.99, then standard, then premium? Why is there basic with
Exactly.
ads? It's pointless.
And you're just making your users more unhappy by
Yeah, 'cause
having
that-
like making things everything more complicated.
Yeah, I noticed that people associate adverts with free stuff, like YouTube, for example. People associate
Yeah.
like that.
You're kind of
with
making your
free
product
stuff.
seem worse.
Yeah. It's just strange. I don't really understand what they're thinking, because I just feel like, because their whole justification is there's over 100 million users right now using Netflix through someone else's account. But I'm like, so you're going to
That's-
kick them out, spit in their
Yeah.
face, and then expect them to pay up? Like, I don't think that's what's going to happen. Most people are just not going to do that.
Yeah. At some point, you've just got to cut your losses, you know? Like, you just got to say, sometimes, like, users are always going to figure out a way to save money by, like, you know, somehow, whether it's like
Illegal
using someone
things that
else's-
we do not
Yeah.
partake in nor
Yeah,
endorse.
like
TNC.
users are always going to do that. There's really no stopping it, I think.
Yeah.
So like, there's got to be a point where you got to say, all right, or if they're going to do it anyway, there's not much we can do. Cut our losses, even if it costs them money.
Yeah.
Because
100%.
otherwise, you're investing a lot of effort into making the experience. Like, you're losing customers if you. I mean, they're not paying customers, granted, but you are losing customers the more people you, slight by making it harder and harder to, use an account that they're mooching off of,
Yeah.
Like,
And
even
then,
if they're
obviously-
not paying for it, they're still using it. They're still giving, indirectly contributing to your success, even if it's
100%, yeah.
not, through paying for Netflix,
Yeah, I was going to say that is obviously really bad for like word of mouth and stuff as well, isn't it? If people keep
Yeah.
like, they're pushing people
Like,
away
if
from it, even if they're
Fewer
not
people are
profiting.
going to
like,
pay for
yeah.
Netflix. the more people
Yeah.
can't pay for
Yeah.
Netflix, you know?
Well, not just that, it's like, well, think about recently with Glass Onion. Like, they boasted about how much hours were watched, like, in a week when it launched. And I bet a lot of the people that viewed it were people using it through someone else's account
Yeah.
that wasn't technically paying. So, like, it's just strange, because I feel like even if they're not paying, it's still of benefit to Netflix to have those people
it's
on
still
the platform.
streams, it's still people watching it, even
Yeah.
if it's not being paid for the right way, with air quotes.
Yeah. Well, it's like, even if you want to compare it again to Spotify has the free tier. They basically make no money on that tier, because, like, it's just adverts and that don't pay enough, especially with the royalties. But the
Yeah.
reason they keep it is because it gets them the numbers. They just announced like 200 million users or something, like a month or something.
And artists
But
are
the
going
whole
to
point
jump
is
on
that
that.
they can yeah. It's about having influence in the market, and I just don't
Yeah.
understand what Netflix is really thinking with that. But we'll have to just wait and see. 'Cause it looks like, because they've took down the page now on the US Netflix that was about those changes. So it might be that they are going to put a halt to it for now, or they're going to scrap it. Hopefully to scrap it, 'cause I think it's a stupid idea, but we'll just have to wait and see with that. So moving on, Samsung had their Unpacked event this month, and they've unveiled the S23 lineup, which is pretty much the same as last year.
No, they look like exactly the same, don't they?
Yeah,
Especially
I
the
mean,
Ultra. I can't tell the difference, genuinely.
I think from what I watched a video about it, and it's like slightly more boxy, I think.
Right.
But other than that, it is like the same. It is pretty
It's like
much.
Apple level
biggest-
changes.
Yeah, that's the same. We make fun of Apple, but even Apple made more changes to the iPhone last year than
Man,
what Samsung
that's how you
has
know
done
you've
this
messed
year.
up, when Sean's like praising Apple indirectly as a dig at you.
Yeah. I mean, they're not bad. I'm not, like, people who buy these, I don't think they're going to be buying a bad phone, because there is some genuinely good improvements. Like, the cameras are better, you know, they have a better, like, 200 megapixel photos and so on. And from what people are saying, the battery is very much improved. Like, it's incredibly good battery life, even compared to the S22 Ultra. It's like multiple hours extra on top, which is, I mean, that's just really good. And it seems like they have some interesting, you know, like, small changes here and there, but, like, overall it's a very safe kind of, you know, new lineup. But there's a couple other things. They've announced a Galaxy Book 3 Ultra, which is kind of like a competitor to the MacBook Pro thing, so we'll have to see what that's like when it comes out. But yeah, that's kind of about it from what Samsung announced, because, I mean, they're very much a hardware company. There's not much software comes out of Samsung. They're mostly reliant on Google and so on, and Microsoft, depending on what products we're talking about. But yeah, like I say, we just have to wait and see if anything interesting comes out of those. But realistically, it seems like quite a safe, just kind of boring update to the whole lineup.
Yeah.
But yeah. So moving on, looks like we're going to be speaking a bit more in VR, because Perrin, as he mentioned a bit earlier, was discussing his first experience with virtual reality.
It's fun. It's weird, but I like it.
Yep.
Yeah.
I can definitely see, like, I've heard of games that are, like, made in VR and fully designed for VR, and, like, fully utilize the technology to deliver us, like, a incredible experience to players. Like, I again haven't played it, so I have no idea how, like, actually good these games are, because I've only just now started VR. But I've heard amazing things about Half-Life Alyx, for example, and how it's super, like, visceral and real. Like, it does an amazing job of, like, you feel like you're in another dimension, basically, just because of the way the technology is designed and the way you interact with the environment around you feels real, almost. And even on smaller levels, just when I'm playing Beat Saber and I see things flying at me and I feel in my hands, like, the movement, and, like, the swords vibrate when you touch them together, and, like, the volume goes weird when the little floaty cubes hit you in the face and they're not supposed to. Like, it's a really well designed medium, and I think it's really cool, and I want to try it out a bit more. But I don't have
Yeah.
money, so I probably won't buy an Oculus. And also, I don't want Facebook to have my money, so I definitely won't buy
Yeah, because I don't even think they're
a
called.
Meta Quest 2. Yeah, they're not
I don't
called
even think
Oculuses anymore.
because they're not even called Oculus anymore. It's Meta. Like they've
It's now
actually
Meta
rebranded it to
Quest
Meta,
2.
which I do not understand why in
Yeah.
the world you'd rebrand it to Meta, because everyone
Yeah.
associates
Everyone
Meta
knows Oculus.
with like. Yeah, and honest that everyone associates Meta with bad things. Let's be
Exactly.
honest.
Yeah.
So I don't know what that was all about, but yeah. Also, I mean, the metaverse. What in the world is going on there?
I think the metaverse is still, like, from what I have seen, the stuff I've seen, it's just VR chat, but worse. And they're so beyond. It seems like they're so behind the times on it, and yet they're claiming it to be like a pioneering technology. I just don't see it going anywhere anytime soon, especially because nobody likes Facebook that much, and especially like Gen Z and millennials, the people that they're marketing VR to. Like, we're not gonna see all the Facebook grandparents out there rushing out to buy a Meta Quest 2 or whatever to go hop in the metaverse because they don't understand what any of those words mean.
What's a metaverse?
Exactly.
Kind of thing, yeah.
I just don't see it working out. Not because I think VR is a bad idea, and because I don't think like it won't go anywhere with how it's like the potential it has to be like a separate environment that can change the way users interact with people, but more just because I don't think Facebook of all companies is going to be able to do it right, you know?
Yeah,
Do it in a way that's satisfying.
I think the idea they're trying to sort of promote of like this is the next society, it's going to be based all around this metaverse idea, but I think that can never work when it's run by Mark Zuckerberg, because people just don't want that.
Exactly.
Because of his history and everything. Yeah.
If Mark Zuckerberg was was put in charge of anything involving my life, I would immediately want to move as far away from his jurisdiction as possible.
Yeah, I just don't think people trust Meta enough with something like a metaverse, even if it was a viable thing.
Yeah.
But I just find the whole concept of the metaverse a bit dystopian, honestly. 'Cause
Yeah.
it's like what? Basically
it's
living
scary,
your
yeah.
life in VR, basically.
Mhm.
I just find that a bit
There's
miserable, honestly.
There's a great book I read recently. It was by Hank Green of Crash Course and SciShow fame, and also TikTok fame. And it was a sequel to one of his earlier books. In it, there was a metaverse-esque virtual reality where you could, like, build and imagine whatever you want, and it was, like, perfectly catered to, the user, and what they would basically be free to do whatever they want and channel their passions however they wanted. And people loved it, and they went so crazy over it that it, like, main characters would, like, lose out on, like, the real world, basically. Like, there's a scene where one of the main characters, who is a guy, hooks up with a girl, and then immediately after he knows that there's an update for the new, I forget what it's called, but it's I'm going to call it Metaverse. There's a new Metaverse update, and he immediately goes to check it out because he knows he has to, and then the girl gets mad at him when he comes out because, that's not cool, because,
Yeah,
but
it's a bit rude.
also, a fun little wrinkle they threw into that book was there was a small portion of the population who just couldn't do it. Like, they would horrifically react to going into the fake metaverse, with air quotes. Like, they would, like, almost get, like, seizures. Like, kind of, like, combine a seizure with an allergic reaction, kind of. Like, that's what would happen to them if they went in. And it was, like, permanent, and, like, just some people can't do it. And that was one of the reasons it completely shut down later in the end of the book. Spoilers. Just because it got out that people couldn't do it. It was insane. It was really dystopian. It was really terrifying. But it reminded me a lot of the metaverse, and I'm worried that with a giant company like Meta, it could realistically become something very close to what happens in Hank Green's book.
Yeah, it actually reminds me, but I don't know where I heard the quote, but it's quite a good quote, I thought, and it's like, utopia is dystopia. I just found that quite
Yes.
Makes you think kind of thing. But I remember back when Meta first rebranded to Meta, like the parent company. Obviously, before I was literally just called like Facebook or something, but they rebranded it to Meta. And I remember during the whole presentation, there was like a bit about someone going into like virtually experience a real concert. I'm not talking like a virtual concert, like a real concert, but there's like a hologram of you there experiencing the concert. But I'm just thinking to myself, why wouldn't you just go to the concert in person? I feel like you're just missing out on the whole experience.
Yeah.
Like the tactile part of it is you can't replace that kind of stuff with AI or virtual reality and so on.
Exactly.
But yeah. Moving on to more weird technology and advancements, Google is holding an event on February 8th this year about search, maps, and what they're saying beyond. So many people have speculated that this is about what they're planning to do with AI, because Google seems to have been quite worried about ChatGPT kind of stealing its thunder, because Google's known for being quite a big player in the AI space. So from what it seems, Google is rearing up to launch a brand new chatbot to rival ChatGPT, and a lot of people are speculating that this whole conference is going to be centered around AI and what Google plans to do with implementing it into their products. So, like I say, I don't know, because Google, like I say, is quite well known for their AI. Like the Google Assistant, most people agree is like the best AI assistant in terms of how clever it is and so on.
Definitely, yeah.
But what I found quite interesting was a lot of people are also speculating they might plan to integrate AI into search, because I don't know if you guys heard, but Microsoft, of all companies, has announced plans to implement ChatGPT into Bing search.
Oh my god.
No one uses.
Give Bing a conscience, no.
Yeah, Bing with a conscience.
I think that's a cool concept, but I don't think anyone's gonna use Bing because of it.
No, not Bing.
Just because
yeah,
Bing,
but I was more thinking even just the idea of it. I'm not entirely sure how that works, because like the issue of AI at the moment, obviously with ChatGPT, is like it. When you ask it certain things, it might not understand. It might take it differently to how you would expect it to take a certain phrase or a certain question. So I don't know what the whole idea would be for integrating AI into search, because is it going to be more about giving you actual more tailored answers, like literally writing a tailored answer to your question based on information it finds on the web, or if it's going to be more something else? I'm not entirely sure.
When I've been using ChatGPT recently, it's sort of the one thing I noticed is that a lot of things, like when you ask it about statistics or information about something, it often just sort of spits out random numbers and things that don't come from anywhere, and they're all just
completely
wrong. So
its way through an
probably that's
answer.
like the opposite of what you'd want in a search engine,
Yeah, usually you want accuracy, you want specificity, and if since ChatGPT is kind of all over the place, I've noticed. Well, a lot of the time it's really, really good, but like when it's wrong, it's really wrong. And having a search engine, something that people trust to be accurate all the time, that seems like a little bit of a recipe for disaster.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If they had a way to like refine it a bit more, and where it's like a later version, and they know for a fact it's accurate, then sure, I think it could be a super helpful tool. But because there's that risk, it doesn't seem like a great idea to throw it in now, and it seems more like a desperation move just to try to make being relevant again,
Yeah. So from the article on Engadget that I've linked here, so it says here that from Google's CEO on an earnings call yesterday, said they're planning in the coming months to launch a language model called LaMDA. I don't know how you meant to actually say it, like LaMDA or something, I'm not sure. But so their whole thing is that unlike ChatGPT, they're saying it's going to be something where people can directly engage with it, but but it's a bit vague. We don't actually know what he means by that. Like, what do they mean by directly engage? I don't know. Like, is it going to be more conversation based, whereas ChatGPT is more request based? I'm not entirely sure what the whole plan is with that. But from what it seems, because last month the CEO, he declared a code red at the company saying that OpenAI's ChatGPT is a major threat to Google's search dominance, because notably Microsoft is the largest investor in ChatGPT, and obviously they're planning to integrate into Bing to give it, so what it says here, to provide more understandable and human-like results. But again, like you said, I'm not really sure how that's meant to work, because again, the accuracy.
Yeah.
Strange.
There's no way to tell for sure how well it's going to function as a search engine, which is the whole point of a search engine.
Yeah. Well, I'm also thinking in other contexts, if you're actually searching for something directly, you're trying to find like an article that you forgot to save, or you're trying to find like a research paper, or like a court document, whatever. How is that going to work? Is the AI going to be kind of put aside for those kind of questions? And how would Google or Bing or anything actually know when you want something very specific, like you're looking for a direct thing? You know, who knows? But yeah, like I say, February 8th, that's when that's happening. It's going to be streamed on YouTube, so I guess we'll see what Google's whole plan is there. Like I say, it also includes announcements in regards to to search and maps as well. So who knows what their plans are, but we shall see. And that actually leads quite well into the primary topic for the podcast, and that is AI-generated speech. So the reason I added this topic was because I watched a video where someone has used a new AI chatbot, or like just bot, sorry, from 11 labs that can synthesize the human voice and allow you to then type out whatever you want in that person's voice that you sample. So in the example I've linked here, it's a sample of Joe Rogan's voice, and I'm not kidding, it's impossible to tell the difference. Like, if you weren't told it was AI generated, I feel like I would not have batted an eye.
It's insane. I know that. I know you're talking about the serious ones that are like actually super good at replicating voices, but to take a small step back and divert the conversation just a little bit, I know that there's a million other ones that aren't nearly as good. Like, they're close enough, and it sounds like their voice, but it just doesn't sound like, you know, this is a person who is talking like a human. And I think those are really fun. Like, there's an amazing series of TikToks. It's on Instagram, and I think YouTube also, by Worm Garden TV, I think is the guy's name. And it started out as, what if Kanye and Drake had a Minecraft server? And then it completely
was not
derailed
expecting
from
that.
there. It completely derailed from there into like a monumental epic Germany with like all kinds of random cartoon characters are there. Like Bob and Larry from VeggieTales are in there. Every single cereal mascot you can imagine is in there. Eminem's the main character also. I think the M&Ms are main characters on top of just Eminem the rapper. It's
oh my god,
incredible. It's complete nonsense, but it's amazing. It's such a fun series. I love it. Anyway, back to serious topic.
Yeah, but no, it's quite interesting though, isn't it? Because then, like, where do you draw the line? Because like you say, that is it's obviously just a joke. Everyone knows
fake.
that those aren't the real Eminem. That isn't the real Kanye West. Whatever. I mean, it could be the real Kanye West. You never know. But the point is that we know that they aren't the real person. It's just their voice being used by an AI.
Yeah.
But in the example I've gave here, this sounds eerily like Joe Rogan. Like, I feel like you could use that to actually make it sound really bad. Like, you could make it so if you don't like someone, or you want to cancel a celebrity or something, or at least make it like, you know, give them bad press, all you need to do is get a sample of their voice, put it into this AI, and then you can just type a ton of terrible stuff, and then, you know, release it as if it's real, and obviously people will think, oh my god, they actually said this, when in the reality they didn't say it.
There's
definitely
real danger in that, and it's another area of how good should AI be kind of allowed to be, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like even with really like Crayon and formerly DALL-E Mini, even with that, like they had to intentionally mess up faces just to prevent people from, you know, making art of, you know, celebrities' faces that could be construed as real, you know?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
even
Well, the
that,
same
there's
with
a lot of ethical use about open source tools like this.
yeah. Well, it's the same with actually the real DALL-E, like the one that OpenAI
Yeah.
has. It if you put in certain terms in that, it would just not. It won't let you because it has like a content policy that blocks certain terms and certain words. So obviously with that, but the problem is with speech. How do you control that? Obviously you can like put sensors in for like, you know, slurs and so on.
Yeah.
But the question is, how do you stop someone from inputting, say, just a politician's voice and then, you know, typing something? Because you don't have to put a slur or something terrible to make someone sound bad.
Exactly.
So
yeah.
the issue is like, should this kind of technology really be available to the masses? Like, fair enough, like you say, the jokey ones that where you know it's a joke. But the problem is like
those are
for the
perfectly
AIs
fine.
that are so good that they can synthesize a voice so well that it sounds like the real person. Should that really be allowed? Really,
Yeah.
at least to the general public.
In general,
think of all the
I would
things you
say
can do with
no.
like with voices and things, like in court and things, you know, for evidence and stuff. That's going to make it almost impossible
Yeah.
to tell if things are like real.
Yeah.
Which is
Well,
a
it's the
real
same
threat.
thing with like, yeah, 'cause it's the same thing with deepfakes now. It's becoming a
Yeah.
problem where how do you discern a real video of someone from a deepfake because they've gotten so good. So the problem is, like you say, with court, how do you prove that a video is actually real or fake? How do you do that when AI is getting so good at being, you know, accurate?
It's a little bit dystopian that technology is so good that it's interfering with this kind of stuff, you know,
Yeah, it's scary.
where it's really freaky that technology we've made has the potential to fully mess up the way this kind of thing works, and has been like you said, anyone can have like their reputation ruined based on tools that are easily accessible to the public.
Yeah. And it's really a weird line to kind of like to try and, you know, balance on, because you've got stuff like you mentioned, like the example you gave, but I've got one as well. It's like there's I can't remember what the website is, but there's like a bot where you can make SpongeBob and other like cartoon characters sing songs or rap them. So someone did one where they got SpongeBob, Patrick, and Mr. Krabs to rap. I can't remember what. I think it was like "Rap God" by Eminem, and it's ridiculous. It sounds hilarious. Like it sounds like SpongeBob, like actually SpongeBob. It sounds like actually Patrick, and so on. But you know it's not real. You know it's just a joke. And for that kind of stuff, it's like it's actually opening up new avenues to create new stuff.
I think stuff like
really
that, stuff like that's great because it's really funny and it's purely creative. You know.
Yeah. And the problem is obviously where do we draw the line between creative, or, you know, audio AI generated speech, and then, you know, the more malicious or like more accurate kind of stuff where it can actually sound like the real person. And it gets actually even more difficult to ask the ethics, because what if, for example, I was to say take your voice, Perrin, without your permission, put it into that, you know, that bot, and make it say whatever I want. It's like, do you legally have the ability to take me to court and like argue that I've done something without your permission, kind of thing?
Yeah, it's kind of like it's almost like name, image, likeness kind of stuff. Like, do people or do AI companies have the permission to use people's voice for projects? Even not like on a like he made me say something awful, therefore I can sue him. More like, do you have the right to kind of invade my privacy in that way, just to even use my voice without my consent?
Exactly. You know? Well, that's the thing. Like, how much could be? There's never been actually a question asked, but what is the legal, you know, in terms of like owning your own voice. Do you own
Yeah.
your own voice? Like, what's the kind of thing behind that? Because, like, obviously we've never had to ask that question before, but now that people can synthesize people's voices, how do you, you know, own your voice, kind of thing? Like, literally your actual voice. It's a big ethical question, and I'm not sure where the line should stop, because, like I say, there is good that can come out of this. There's a lot of creative stuff and interesting things that can come out of it, but then on top of that, you also have all the malicious and dangerous stuff that can come out of it as well.
Yeah, I guess it's
So-
like
Yeah.
you've got to weigh up sort of, you know, which one you want to prioritize more. In my opinion, I think the malicious outweighs the sort of creative aspect with the
Yeah.
direction this is going. But
But I don't
Yeah.
think
It's
it's
a
the kind of
difficult
thing
question,
where
yeah.
because there's a legitimate creative aspect, do you ban it
Yeah.
entirely and like risk and sacrifice that? Because it's fun to like
Yeah.
play around with it to a certain extent, but at the same time, take it too far and it can become legitimately dangerous. So there, you gotta be careful about balancing that.
Yeah. Well, like AI art, for example, if I was like, I think it's fine, for example, if I was to take one of my own pieces of art and then put that into DALL-E and then add stuff on top of that, I don't see the issue in that, because it's just an extra extension for creativity. It's the same thing, like if you're to ask ChatGPT to write something and then you base it off of that writing, don't copy it, but you use it as like a starting point, I don't see the issue in it. But obviously the question then becomes, what if people are using it to either steal things or, do something malicious with it? So the problem is obviously it's going to be a lot of legislation, it's going to be a lot of legal stuff that's going to have to come in to try and, put a line in the sand to say this is okay, but doing this isn't okay.
Mm-hmm.
The
yeah,
issue is obviously everyone's morality is different. A lot of people would say would put the line slightly differently depending on how you see the problem. But yeah, like I say, we'll actually have to see what happens in regards to that. Because like I say, this is all brand new. AI is
Yeah.
kind of becoming so advanced so fast. Because like I say, like this whole AI generated speech was so primitive, like even just a year ago. But now it's
Yeah.
there actually is now legitimate questions on, how do you tell
How can we use
someone
this
real?
at all?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Can
exactly.
we use this ethically at all?
exactly.
It's super weird. We're
Very.
a bit. It's kind of somewhat good that all the applications of AI so far aren't like that bad.
Mhm.
Like it's good that it's small issues like, oh, this person messed up, like used my face or my voice or whatever, and that can be scary if used wrong, but at least it's something as simple as that and not like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like there's potential
Well,
for
yeah.
AI to be a lot worse.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what if someone synthesizes like the president's voice and then says,
Yeah.
"I'm going to launch nukes to so and so," like you can actually
Yeah.
cause major incidents
Wars.
with that kind of dangerous stuff.
Yeah.
So it's a question of obviously, like, again, where do we cross where do you put the line in the sand between it being, creative and fun and this kind of just like an experimental thing, and then obviously putting a line saying no, we have to obviously have some protections in place to ensure people can't just
Yeah.
be like, lives ruined because someone stole their voice or something.
Exactly.
So- But yeah, like I say, there's a lot of ethics about it, and obviously it'll be something which will, I hope, in the near future, we'll start seeing and being debated in more, the general public.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think we shall move on to the music segment. Perrin, would you like to start?
All right. So I want to talk about. So you guys probably know Owl City, right?
Yeah.
yeah,
Famous, decently famous.
Fireflies and so
perhaps a bit, of a has been nowadays to many. But he's still making music, and I want to talk less about his mainline stuff on Owl City and more about all the side projects he does, because all the side projects are amazing. So a couple of years ago, in 2016, that was 7 years ago already. Anyway. Oh, man.
I feel old.
He made he challenged himself to release a like a musical score. So like brief, like little 40-minute album that's like an orchestral score for a different historical event every single month. So in the year 2016, he released 12 different albums that were historical scores for historical events. So he did one for like Apollo 11 and the Titanic, and the first ascent of Everest, and General Sherman's March to the Sea, and a bunch of other like really famous historical events that he just made music for. And it was a super fun project, and all of them are really, really fun. I love them a lot. They're really, really cool. And it's all instrumental. It's like super just fun to listen to, even if it's really simple. You know? Like, it's just it's a little simple fun of music, and I like it. It's really fun. But another project of his the year before was called Color Therapy, where it's just like a little fun. I keep saying fun. I gotta stop find different adjectives. It's a little electronic album that's like a little experimental. I've shown you a couple of his songs, Sean, I believe.
Yes, we actually used one for
that's right.
DP10, I think.
Yes, we did. But it's electronic. It's a little spooky for some of the songs, where it's like, I don't want to say grungy a little bit, and then it goes into more like soft, pretty, like tranquil instrumental. It's a really, really fun mix. It's super.
Yeah, I remember
super
the track
album.
Screw Eyes, if I'm
Yes,
not mistaken.
that's
I
the
think
one
that's what
I
we
put
used.
in there.
Yeah, because I like the industrial drums on it. It almost reminds me a bit of Mother off of Nurture, like the kind of
Yeah,
bombastic,
I can see that.
wild.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but there's a lot of really, really good instrumental tracks that Adam Young has made. The guy behind Owl City, that just a lot of people don't really know about. And I think, personally, he's one of my favorite musicians, period. Just not so much because of the stuff he's made on Owl City, but more just because he's got so much music that he's made, and so much of it is, like, really, really well done. Like, you can tell that he loves making this music, and he pours his heart and soul into making it, and it's the end products are really, really good and really, really well done.
yeah.
So, yeah.
I've got to give props to it, because I remember, like, when I read sometimes like music forums and that, a lot of people criticize Owl City specifically, like that project, because it sounds
Yeah.
quite similar to the Postal Service. If I don't know if you've ever heard
I
those
haven't
stuff,
listened to
but
much of it, no.
yeah, but I mean, I can't deny it sounds pretty close, especially Ocean. I think is it Ocean Eyes that I think
Ocean Eyes,
Fireflies
yeah.
comes off of. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I remember they are quite similar, but like when you showed me a lot of his side projects, like his own stuff, like
Yeah.
on his own
It's
name,
not
and
like
also,
that's
like
the
you say, Color
only-
Therapy. It's
Yeah.
it was a lot more. I could appreciate like it's not just that he's a lot more than just Owl City.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of people just kind of neglect it because they just don't like Owl City specifically.
And even Ocean Eyes, I do think that's his best album. Even if it does, I haven't heard listen to the Postal Service, so I can't say for sure how much it sounds like them. But
I would recommend them. They are good.
yeah, I'm sure.
Such
But
great heights.
even
a great
then-
track.
Yeah. Oh, I know that one. That one I know. That's a good one. Anyway, I do think like his music is still good, even if it's kind of riffing on a style that other bands have jumped off of.
Yeah.
I don't
100%.
think taking inspiration or using a similar style to a different artist is necessarily a detriment to that artist.
Yeah.
Just because
Because I remember. Yeah,
like,
because like, a
you
lot
can
of
have
people.
similarities and still be like
Yeah.
well done.
Because because I remember. I think it was Tame Impala when they released their first album, Inner Speaker. They got compared a lot to John Lennon because his voice at the time was quite similar to John Lennon's. I think it was John Lennon. They said, and I'm just like, but the thing is, he sounds nothing like. After that, when you listen to Lonerism, Currents, and the Slow Rush, it's clear he's not that. It's very different. So I feel like the issue is a lot of people just like when they associate a new act with another thing, they just don't. That's it. We can't be something different later on, or so on. Like I say, people are inspired all the time, so I don't see the issue in that. But Yeah. Anyway, Porkin, what about you?
Yeah, this is just something I saw recently. I found pretty interesting. You might have seen that Mr. Beast made a video of going to like Antarctica, and Hans Zimmer, like the famous film composer, actually wrote music for that video, which I think is just
Wait, really?
I think I heard
Yeah.
of that. Yeah.
yeah.
Oh
it's-
my god.
I think it's just
Okay.
crazy that we've got to the point where like a YouTuber is able to just hire the most expensive film composer in the world to write music for a YouTube video, which
Yeah.
crazy I think.
It makes sense,
Yeah.
I guess, because I mean,
Yeah.
Antarctica always have like I feels like Antarctica should always have kind of epic
Yeah, for sure.
cinematic
True.
music on it.
Yeah,
You know,
I-
like because like Frozen Planet, I mean, that just has
Mhm.
great work on it as well. Because like again, it
is
just
that Hans Zimmer
just
as well?
makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's Hans Zimmer, but I mean, obviously the soundtrack to it's really good. There's like I mean, all the Planet David Attenborough stuff
Oh, yeah.
sounds great.
Those are really, really good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Frozen Planet
also-
is Hans Zimmer as well.
Is it? Oh,
It's
there you
cool,
go.
Yeah.
There you
I
go.
think he wrote a lot of
Very
the stuff
cool.
for the all the BBC nature documentaries, David Attenborough and all that.
Yeah.
I think he's done pretty much
Yeah, I
all
can't
of them.
remember. Because like Blue Planet 2, like I think like, it took them like I think it was like over 10 years to
Yeah.
make it. It was like ridiculously how long
It's-
it took them
That's
to make.
a really good documentary too.
It is really
Mhm.
good.
I can't tell if it's just Hans Zimmer is so famous that a bunch of people want him to do projects for them, like with Frozen Planet and with the Mr. Beast video. He also did like the Boss Baby soundtrack, which I think is really funny. So I
he's
can't tell
literally
if it's
everywhere,
just
yeah.
I can't tell if it's just everyone wants to, get Hans Zimmer to do their projects, or if it's just Hans Zimmer doesn't have much to do and is doing everyone's projects nowadays.
I think it's
Like, no
I think
offense
it's
to
a
Hans
mixture
Zimmer.
of
Hans
both.
Zimmer is an incredible composer. Incredible composer. One of the greatest to ever do it.
Yeah.
But also,
I think that's he is quite famous to be honest. I think if you
Yeah.
asked most people name a composer, most people will say Hans Zimmer.
Most
So that's
people
probably
will
why
say
a lot of
Hans
people
Zimmer,
want
yeah.
him because if you
Yeah.
put his name on the soundtrack,
it's
you
like
know
probably him and Danny Elfman, and that's probably
John
it.
Williams, I reckon.
John Williams, yeah. Of course.
Yeah, 100%. But yeah, I
Ludwig-
didn't know
Ludwig
that
Göransson's
Mr. Beast.
pretty good.
I'm still. I mean, I'm not that surprised. I don't know why I'm acting that surprised, but I'm just like when you said, "Oh yeah, Mr. Beast has a video where Hans Zimmer of all people composed the music for." I'm just like,
No, yeah, it's
wait,
crazy.
what?
Yeah.
But yeah, that is really cool.
Yeah.
So
I think I read somewhere that he's able to charge like I think it was $50,000 per minute of audio, which I think is like
Wow.
per minute, per minute.
per minute.
I was complaining about 15 quid a month for Deezer Premium, man. Oh my
It's Hans
god,
Zimmer, man. You know you're getting high quality. And Mr. Beast has that kind of money for a 10-minute video.
Yeah, yeah.
Nah,
To be
definitely.
fair.
Yeah.
It's like pocket
Ima-
change
God.
for Mr. Beast.
Imagine that. God, I'm in the wrong profession. I need to start composing music, man.
Well, I mean, I don't know if I'd compare you to Hans Zimmer, though.
Oh,
As good as you
yeah,
are.
true. Yeah, that's fair. Anyway, speaking of music, I'll move on to my one. So it's an album called Hey What, in all caps as well, by a band called Low. So I've not listened to much of Low discography because they have over like 20-ish albums that span like from the 90s all the way to now. So they started off as like a slowcore band, which slowcore, if you don't know, it's basically, I don't want to just say it's slow down rock music, but it's like a low tempo kind of moody sound basically. But then more recently they've gotten into more experimental music, and it's hard to describe Hey What, but the best way to describe it is distortion and ambience. Basically, if you listen to like the opening track, White Horses, it has basically this like it almost sounds like a guitar riff, but the way it's been edited, it sounds like it's just absolutely like just destroyed kind of thing. Like it just sounds it's like, I don't know if you've ever played around in Audacity, but like if you go into like distortion and then like select hard clipping, that's what it sounds like. But like they do it in a way that's like really tasteful, and it just makes everything sound really, intense, I guess, like really huge and crushing. And then you've got other tracks, which is, for example, the track Days Like These starts off with just like vocals and like a little piano. Then distortion comes in to kind of almost like feels like everything's getting like compressed. And then it kind of then slowly melts down into like this ambient section towards the end as well. It's, again, it's one of those, I'm usually I like to think I'm not terrible at describing albums or music, but I feel like with this album, it's hard to describe. It's something where you have to just kind of hear it to believe it, kind of thing. But it's really interesting how they do it, because like I say, I don't know if it's all synthetically produced, but it sounds really digital, but in like an organic way, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of like Nurture, where it is digital, but yeah, it still sounds very human and very
organic. It does feel like lying in a field of flowers face down.
It does. The album cover for Nurture is a perfect summarization of the sound.
I actually recreated that photo once.
Oh,
Just
yeah?
lying down in a field, yeah.
Yeah, I wish I mean, I would do that, but I don't
I
have
feel
any
like-
fields to have enough like long grass for that.
Man,
Yeah.
I feel like most people could benefit from just flopping face first into a field of flowers every
True.
once in a while.
Yeah.
Just every once in a while recreate the Nurture cover.
It's like screaming into a pillow. You just gotta release it. It's a lot more relaxing.
Yeah, it does. Oh, like I said, Nurture's just such a great album, man. I know I'm talking about Hey Walk by Low, but I mean,
Yeah,
Nurture's
Nurture's
such a great
so
album
good.
too.
So good. One of my favorites
Yeah.
ever. Probably my
Go-
favorite ever.
Yeah, I'd probably say it's up there. I'd say it's definitely a 10 out of 10 for me. Definitely. It's one of my top albums.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. But that's us now moving into the outro. Like I say, I know, very exciting. So my name is Sean, and you can find me on my server at Taz Hangout.
I'm Perrin, and you can find me several places, and also in Sean's server.
Yeah, I'm Porcan, Portus, whatever you want to say. You can find me anywhere. Yeah. Anywhere you want.
Just
We're very,
I'm
we're a
anywhere
very
you want, stalk
descriptive
them.
bunch today.
just stalk them. Just see if you can find them.
Yeah.
You can find
We do
me.
not
I don't know.
condone stalking, so if you're gonna sue any of us, sue yourself for
Yeah.
stalking. You should be ashamed of
yeah.
yourself if you
I'm
stalk
sorry.
people.
Yeah, definitely. No, I thought you were gonna say, like, remember? I don't know if you remember that photo, Porcan, but it was like the one where you're like carrying cheese in like the middle of the night.
Ah,
like,
yes.
I thought that's what you were gonna say. Just like, yeah, I'm walking. Yeah, you'll find me at your local street carrying a block of cheese from Tesco.
Local Tesco at 11 p.m.
Man.
Oh, Tesco Metro, let's go.
Yeah.
I don't have Tesco's
Perrin-
here in the U.S. I don't think. We do have Costco though. I can get blocks of cheese at Costco. I'll try that.
Yeah, but it's not the same, man. It's not Tesco.
It's not
Oh,
Tesco,
shit.
is
It's
it?
not the same. It's not the same. Wait, do you? No, you won't
Yes,
have this. You won't have Morrison's either. I don't think you have
Morrison's?
Morrison's. Yeah, he doesn't have
Oh.
Morrison's.
Wow.
Yeah, no, we don't
Yeah.
have that.
Or Sainsbury's either. Those,
I
to be
like,
honest,
well, I
Sainsbury's
like
is
how
so
when I go to
expensive.
the store locator on Tesco.com, the map immediately just shows the UK and nowhere else.
Yeah, it is a UK company, to be fair.
Nope, nothing in
make
the
sense,
United
yeah.
States. There's no Tesco.
Oh, you just need to move
Man.
to the UK, man.
Wait a minute. There's a Tesco store in Boston, Massachusetts.
Wait, is there? Hold
There's
on.
a Tesco
You have to
store.
go.
in oh
Wait,
wait,
hold
no,
on,
no, no,
Tesco
no, no.
Boston.
There's a search for it, but there's not actually one. I'm dumb. I
No,
can't
wait,
read.
hold on. Wait, hold
I
on.
don't-
Hold on. Boston Superstore, Tesco. Where is this? Oh, it's in Westbridge in New Hammond. I don't. Yeah, I
see.
think this is the UK, but it's
There's
called
a couple
Boston.
that are similar to Tesco. But
I can't
are not
believe it. I
Tesco.
can't believe it, Perrin. Boston stole it from the UK.
Well,
They stole their name from
Massachusetts.
the UK. Shake my head.
Every single town name in New England is stolen from the UK. So
I mean, even
don't
New
worry
England
about
is.
it. Exactly. That's
Yeah,
the
to be
whole
fair.
idea. Is we just stole all your names. Well, more
Yeah.
of we didn't steal them. It's that you guys weren't original when you initially came to the colonies, and so you just recycled all the old ones from back home.
True. I mean,
So-
England did that, not
Up to a
Scotland.
certain
I have,
extent.
I have nothing to do with
Yeah,
that.
Scotland.
Yeah, there was no
Scotland
New
didn't
Scotland,
do anything
right?
wrong.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, is there
there
New
is in
Where
New
is there?
Scotlandia in Canada, not
There's a
Scotlandia. what am I
town called
talking
New Scotland in New York.
Oh, there is.
about? What's it
Yeah.
called?
Oh, yeah,
Something, isn't there?
Latin
Isn't
for
there
New
like
Scotland. Nova Scotia.
8,688 people. So shout out to the town of New Scotland, New York, if you're listening. If anyone from there is listening.
Yeah, there's also a place called Canada Wood in Falkirk in Scotland, so shout out to that place.
Man, we're just
I don't know
shouting
where,
out
it's a
random
cafe
tiny
it looks like,
locations.
so hopefully your coffee's good. I hope the coffee's
Yeah.
alright. The tea should be quite good as well.
Yeah.
So,
I can guarantee the tea in New Scotland, New York is probably less good.
yeah.
No
Yeah, to be
disrespect
fair.
to New Scotland, New York, though.
Sorry, New York. But anyway, like I say, thank you very much for listening. We're now over an hour and 5 minutes, so you can see we've been talking about very important stuff such as Tesco in Boston, but it's not actually Boston, it's actually
not
Boston
actually
in the UK.
Mhm.
Yeah,
So sad.
very sad.
Oh, I
Yeah.
just realized Nova Scotia is technically New Scotland.
Wait, what?
Yeah,
The province Nova Scotia, that's New Scotland, just Latinized.
Oh,
that
there
is
you
cool.
go then.
So there is a New Scotland after all. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't escape Scotland, man.
Oh
Can't
man.
escape it. You know, there's actually the entire world Scotland. You just haven't realized it yet.
Yeah, I mean, granted, I don't know. I was gonna say something, make a joke about Ohio, but it didn't go anywhere.
Can't have anything in. Oh, well, yeah, you can't have anything in Ohio anyway. So that
For
includes
real.
jokes.
Man,
Man, can't have
Alright.
anything in Ohio.
SMH.
What would be the Ohio equivalent in Boston, Massachusetts?
Massachusetts? Probably
Yeah.
Lowell, Massachusetts.
Damn,
Lowell,
can't have
Massachusetts is a horrible town. Is a horrible city.
anything. Sorry
People
to
who
all
live
the
there,
people in that area.
people who live there would agree with me. Lowell is a horrible
Alright.
city. Anyway, shout out to New Scotland, New York, but not Lowell, Massachusetts. Sorry to all my
Alright.
homies in Lowell, Massachusetts, but you know it's true.
Okay, fair enough. Wait, Porcan, what would be the Ohio for England?
I don't know. Somewhere like, somewhere in the the Midlands.
It's just how dare you? The Midlands are great. What are you talking about?
Hang on.
But yeah. Anyway, now we've rambled for a good amount of time now. I think it's probably about time I stop the podcast. So thank you very much for listening, and we shall see you in the next episode.
All right,
Bye.
farewell.